All right, you guys, welcome back to the DM and Friends. I am DM Angelo, and today we are rolling right along with our Weird Gear Chronicles. You know, we've covered structural stuff like grappling hooks and 10-foot poles, but today we're talking about a fluid that newer players maybe don't really bring with them, or skip past entirely, right? Or don't know nothing about. But today we're talking about holy water. And if you're playing, some modern games, you probably think, well, holy water is just something like a paladin buys, once for, X amount of gold pieces, to throw at a zombie for 2d6 of radiant damage, right? It's treated like a holy hand grenade, right? Or you chuck it, you roll some dice and you move on. Boring, right? Well, back in classic Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, this stuff wasn't just a damage dice item. It was an environmental puzzle solver, an undead detector, and a tactical barrier. Let's talk about why keeping a flask of blessed fluid on your belt is the ultimate test of old school player skill. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about the history behind holy water, right? So, how resource management, worked in old school, right? Like I always say, you didn't have endless spell slots or magical cantrips to carry you through, right? If you ran out of resources, you had to rely on physical tools. You brought with you, right? In classic AD&D, holy water wasn't just a store-bought luxury you brushed off. Creating it was an absolute investment of time, prayer, and, cold hard silver or gold, by a cleric. Because it was so precious, you didn't just throw it at the first skeleton you saw. It was treated as a vital tactical asset. When you entered a dark, desecrated tomb, you were, and you were outnumbered or outgunned by things that, defied, natural life. Holy water was your literal slice of the heavens, brought, into the deep dark. It allowed non-magical characters, fighters, thieves even, to interact directly with unholy environments, and change the rules of the encounter without casting the spell. So, how would you actually use holy water creatively, right? Because if you're just chucking it like a hand grenade, right, or a baseball, you're missing out on the real magic of old school play. So, I put down a couple things, a couple ways that I've seen it used in play. So one of them is an ultimate undead detector, right? So if you suspect that a pristine sarcophagus of a wealthy merchant's corpse is actually a vampire or something like that, what do? You sprinkle a little bit of holy water on it and let it, and instead of poking it with a sword, right? Once you put a couple drops on it, obviously it's going to hiss, it's going to smoke, it's going to burn. So there you go. Now you know it's undead, right? So how about purifying the unholy, right? So, in classic modules, dungeons are riddled with cursed altars or unholy shrines, fountains, stuff like that. So you dump some, pouring a flask of holy water over unholy relic, could neutralize the curse, maybe, rendering the trap, completely harmless. So that's another way. How about an aerial denial of fiends, right? Being pursued down a narrow hallway by maybe shadows or, minor demon, right? If you pour a line of holy water across the doorway, maybe that'll keep him back. And I've seen it being used, and the DM allowed it. So created a barrier. Maybe blessing improvised weapons, right? So if you're out of options, pouring holy water over your shield, maybe holding you can hold back something with the doused with holy water. So there's all kinds of different ways that I've seen it used. And that's up to the DM, but you definitely can come up with all kinds of different ways to use holy water, aside from, throwing it at the undead. So, I want to talk about the flip side of this, because because this is the DM and Friends, we have to talk about the catch, right? The logistics of carrying glass flasks if you have them in glass, right? Easily an orc hits you, it could break it, right? So there goes your 25 gold pieces worth of holy water. So it's definitely a decision, a hazard, a resource management, logistics thing. So, they're fragile. And holy water, once it's created, has to be put in something, a container, right? So think about that too. So I want to talk about, in the Dungeon Master Guide. So in AD&D, couple things about the mechanical side of holy water, right? How does it create it and how much it costs? In the player's handbook, holy water is 25 gold pieces, right? It's pretty pricey for starting characters. I know that we used to always buy holy water, whether I was a fighter or a cleric or a paladin or a ranger. We always carried it with us because it was a tool that we used along with our 10-foot pole and our iron spikes. We always had something like that. So I want to talk a little bit about the DMG, right? So on page 114 and 115, it's funny, I have it all highlighted here too. They're under the research magic portion or magical research section, creation of holy/unholy water. So I'm going to read some stuff here because Gary totally outlined a way that it's made, right? So I'm going to read this. Only clerics, excluding druids, are able to prepare holy water or unholy water in case for evil clerics, right? So as a 3rd level spell is involved, it requires a cleric of not less than 5th level experience to create such fluid. The process is as follows. It's very detailed and I love it. A specifically blessed, I'm not going to use the word curse, so let's just talk about a blessed one. So let's say this is a good cleric. So a specifically blessed basin of fine workmanship and precious metal, copper, silver, electrum, gold, or platinum, must be fashioned for the cleric. The vessel must be engraved with the holy symbols of the cleric's deity or deities, and it must be within the special repository of finely crafted and carefully worked rare wood with a base, pedestal, chest-like holder, and lid, the whole being known as a font, right? So it has to have a holy font, very specific, right? The basin is placed within the font, and the cleric must cast the following spells in succession while robed in a formal vestment appropriate to his or her religious persuasion, right? So create water. So you're creating it. Purify food and drink, the water. Bless, chant, 1 full turn, and prayer. So, and the amount of water created depends upon the metal, the receptacle, and then he goes through a whole bunch of interesting things about, what copper, silver, how many you could, how many are created at the time, minimum cost of the basin. Yeah, super cool. But so it's a very specific way of why this, how it's created, and that's the reason why the cost of it, 25 gold pieces, which is pretty hefty for a piece of weird gear. So, unholy water proves that the great dungeon crawler doesn't just look at their character sheet for answers, right? They look at how they can weaponize their gear, right, against a specific environment they are facing. It turns a simple liquid, right? Well, it's not simple, it's holy liquid, right? Into a high-stakes tool of survival. So next time you're visiting the general store or the temple or preparing spells with your party's, cleric before a big crawl, make sure you secure some holy water. Stop relying entirely on the standard weapons attacks and builds, right? And start using the physical tools of, divine survival, right? Your DM will love the creativity. And you'll keep your character alive long enough to see the light of day. Next week, we are moving on to an item that sounds absolutely ridiculous to new school players. Feathers. I'm going to talk about feathers. There's so many comments about the use of feathers. So I have some really great examples of what I've seen as a DM being used, right? So, you know, you think of a pouch of bird feathers, just trash or component waste, right? Or you have, you know, maybe no idea about, at all, but, you know, we're talking about air currents. We're talking about tricking monsters. We're talking about silent communication, you know, in the way that will completely just blow your mind, right? So, all right, you guys, this was another fun one. Thanks for being here on another episode of the Weird Gear Chronicles. And if you have an awesome story about how a splash of holy water saved your party from a total wipe, or the time a flask broke at the exact worst moment, right? Please put it in the comments. I absolutely love reading your comments and swapping stories with everyone back and forth in the comments of the videos, you know. All right, you guys, if you're enjoying the Weird Gear Chronicles, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe. I almost spit on myself there. Subscribe and share with the other members at your table in your gaming group. As always, I am DM Angelo. This is the DM and Friends. I love advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I love you guys. Take care of yourself. Be good to each other. And when you go to that temple, make sure you pick up some of that holy water. All right, you guys. Bye-bye.